they'll just sit in front of a camera and eat like 10 cheeseburgers for views, and it's like considered, oh, you're so brave and good for you. For insurance to cover it, I would have to go get myself some diabetes. And you're delusional if you think so. And I know this is going to sound controversial. Prepare your mind for this. Are we going to kid ourselves and assume that even thin people haven't had these issues too, and they haven't been shamed for the weight that they were at? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am SweetJaimeLee. I'm a conservative makeup YouTuber. If you like that, stick around, hit subscribe, and like this video, share it around if you will. So I've done one other episode so far. I've been falling way behind on videos. I'm so sorry. But where I call it like want my opinion, and then I give my opinion on certain topics, because boy do I have a lot of opinions. And today, I promised this like a month ago, I'm so sorry. I want to talk about fat acceptance and body positivity. Now, being a plus size person, I know like people would probably assume I would have one opinion on this, or I line up on one side. That is not true. I am so anti-fat acceptance movement that it makes me like, I'm irritated by it. Body positivity, I have no problem with. And I see so many like, especially like the feminist types of people, and sorry if you're not a feminist, but you're pro fat acceptance or whatever. I don't understand how one person can know all the facts, you know what it can lead to, you know that it's not healthy, and no, it's nobody else's business for sure. But when you're putting yourself out there, and especially like on TikTok and all this stuff, and just like being like gigantic and seemingly not healthy, I know that there are exceptions here, so don't, you know, whatever, because I'll get into that in a second. But you're telling other people to be so comfortable with themselves that it's probably going to end up like leading them to an early grave. That I have a problem with. Like, I can't imagine, and like I say, being plus size, like I'm, you know, generally like a 16, 18, maybe a size 20, like depending on what store or whatever. So I'm not small by any means. Like most of my weight, you know, it's down here. It's, you know, the bottom half, I'm like a pear shape. Yes, I struggled with it for a long time, like when I was in high school and I got made fun of, and it was like, it was always an issue even in young adulthood. I always saw myself as this disgusting, like unworthy of love person just because of my weight. And then it took a lot of years and relationships that failed for me to finally I understood, and I started viewing myself differently. And then came like the great change that I see, and I'm not like uncomfortable with myself. I am worthy of love. I know all that now. But it was a process, and I think for a lot of people out there, I'm sure you can agree. But to walk around and just flaunt like every role you have, and like kudos in one way, but in another way, I can't wrap my head around it. Like, do these people see? Here's where I am. Like, if my life were so perfect and I had all this money, do you know what I would be doing right now? It would be like weight loss surgery, 100%. Because like, who out there can actually say, and especially if you're bigger, that you've never dreamed of being smaller and just like fit and just like look good in clothes and like feel good? I think we all can agree to that. So why this push for fat acceptance? So the definition that I'm finding online, well, according to Wikipedia, is the fat acceptance movement, also known as fat pride, fat empowerment, and fat activism, is a social movement seeking to change anti-fat bias and social attitudes by raising awareness among the general public about the obstacles faced by fat people experiencing the stigma of obesity. I have an issue with this, and it irritates me. One, this would also mean that everybody should understand every single thing and every obstacle faced by every person in the freaking world. Why? Number one, no, I don't have to. Two, is there bias against like bigger people? Well, yeah, I'm assuming, and I've experienced like one example of such a thing before, and it was irritating, but it didn't define my life, as it shouldn't. But why should you have to sit there and listen to like fat people march around and say like, you don't understand my plight? Like, well, not everybody understands everyone else's plight. Like, do people with cancer like march around saying, you have to understand what I'm going through? Like, even like with me having MS and everything, like, I'm not going to march around. I hope that people do understand certain things, especially because I'm severely limited in a lot of things I can do now. But it's not other people's jobs to like sit down, write a report, read an essay, and try to understand where you're coming from, especially when like the science is out there. Like, obesity is bad, and especially for COVID, you have way higher chance of having problems if you're obese with COVID. So like, all of the science points to it, and that doesn't mean that other people have the right to like look at you and say that you're not worthy. I completely understand the thought process behind like bigger people wanting other people to treat them differently or just better and normal. I understand that, but how about one, maybe we can all come to the middle and say, well, yeah, I think it would be great if everybody could live a healthier life or exercise more or eat better, whatever. It is what it is. No, do I want to eat a salad every single day? No, but like, but on the flip side, you have a lot of people out there, especially in, social media, they'll just sit in front of a camera and eat like 10 cheeseburgers for views, and it's like considered, oh, you're so brave and good for you. Like, what? Good for you. Like, I don't agree with it. Doesn't mean that you have to or don't have to. I just don't. I think it's ridiculous and it needs to stop. Body positivity, I think that's a better thing to get behind, because I do think like no matter what your size or like what stage of any journey that you're on, feel good about yourself though. Like, hold your chin up, like hold your head up high, and just like walk into that store. Doesn't matter if like other people are like looking at you or whatever, and just feel good. That's fine. And I think thin people should do that too, because are we going to kid ourselves and assume that even thin people haven't had these issues too, and they haven't been shamed for the weight that they were at and being really thin? Like, it goes both ways. And all of a sudden, like, this like fat feminist movement like took over and said like, no, we're the only people that have ever been like judged before. Well, that's just not true. You're wrong. Like, I know a lot of people actually, and I've even heard stories, and I think Steven Crowder mentioned, because I believe, I hope he's doing all right, prayers, of his wife is really small. She's so beautiful. Oh, what a nice family. They look so nice. And she's always been like really tiny, and the whole family, like her side of the family, was something like that. And like, she's had people say things to her, and I remember he talked about it once, and I was like, of course. Like, who are we as in like the bigger people movement or whatever? Like, we're the only ones that have ever had something said to us or somebody judge us based on what we look like. Frick no, and you're delusional if you think so. Big people have been picked on before and judged. Small people have been judged. And even, especially within like the healthcare system, and I know everyone, like the fat pride movement, is trying to say, oh, we need to cut out like the bias in healthcare, whatever. But the doctor knows these things. He knows that if you're like 400 pounds, that you're going to have health issues down the line. So maybe let me help you do something. But instead it's met with like, who are you to judge me? Who he is a doctor of medicine, of the human body, of how things work. It's not like he's just picking like a fat person to say, well, even though there's no medical evidence to say that you're unhealthy, lose weight anyways because I don't like the way you look. It's based on stuff. And it's highly irritating me. Do I think you should feel good about yourself? frick yes, of course you should. But, and I think my whole like, we need to bring shame back, and I know this is going to sound controversial, prepare your mind for this. And I need to be careful the way I say that. Well, no, I don't, because I'm not trying to censor myself, but shame, where has that concept gone in like everyday life now? Like if you're sitting around eating like 4 large pizzas and a bag of Fritos and you're 400 pounds, do you not feel shame? We're being told that you shouldn't be ashamed of that. Be who you are. And I do think that there's like an evolutionary, or at least like a there's a reason that shame, we feel shame. I would say it's a really useful tool, or like an evolutionary whatever, like whatever the feeling is, where it comes from. It's there for a reason. Like your subconscious is trying to say like, maybe you shouldn't eat 6 cheeseburgers. Maybe you could have 1 cheeseburger and a salad on the side, or fruit. Eat some fruit. Oh, I love fruit. So, do you know what I mean? And I'm not here like judging anybody. As a bigger person, I understand, and I don't like that people would judge me on certain things, but they have every right to. Like, you know, I think people can make assumptions. It's just frustrating because a lot of them, like, yeah, I can debunk too. Like, are you assuming that just because I am overweight, that all I do is just like eat cheeseburgers? No, that's not true. What are my favorite foods? Salads and chicken and fruit. I love fruit. Do I like potatoes? Sure, I think it's fun. But vegetables, they're delicious. Like, all healthy foods are delicious. Salads are delicious. Like, all of that is good. Like, my main obstacle that I definitely know for sure is just not getting out there, not moving like enough and all of that stuff. And does MS play a huge part in this? Frick yes. And I also know that there's a statistic out there that I recently saw. Well, hold on, let me find this. Hold on. Yeah. So there's a lot of things, and a Canadian study has found evidence for a causal role of obesity in multiple sclerosis. And yeah, as a person who has it, I think, and if you do, it's understandable. And it's just like the fatigue alone, and it's just like you can't do a lot of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of things there. So no, is it fair to people to assume that you're not at least, you know, trying to do things or eating healthy? No, it's not fair. But when you're 600 pounds and in a video eating pizzas, I think I can make an assumption. But then you're going to turn around and say, don't judge me, don't even like say anything, and you're saying that I'm like not good for children. Well, you're not. If I had children, I wouldn't want them watching you. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. You're disgusting. Do I have a right to say that? Kind of. Yes, I do. So, do you know what I mean? I'm all for, I think people should feel better about themselves no matter what your size. This isn't just like, oh, fat people need to feel better about themselves. I know a lot of thin people that have, you know, negative body, like the way they see their bodies. And that makes me sad because, like, my whole life, just being, like, from high school, like, not all that overweight, but I thought I was in my head based on what, like, you know, the girls would say. I thought I was like 900 pounds, but that's just, you know, high school, and it doesn't matter anymore, but whatever. I say we should all be striving for the best. Like, what would make me happiest so that I could have an easier out. Do I want to be overweight? No. Who would actually ever say that? That's the ridiculous part about this whole thing, and fat acceptance, and you need to understand my plight. Like, but no. Don't you want to do better? And I know definitely I do. And if there was an easy out, I would definitely take it. And that's why, like, weight loss surgery has, like, popped up in my brain before. My only obstacle there, because I would, and it's whatever, like, that'd be awesome. But the problem with that is that I do know I don't have any health issues that would qualify me for my insurance to cover it. That's the ironic thing about this whole part. They're like, you need to have at least like one, something wrong. Like, do you have like high blood pressure? Do you have diabetes and all this stuff? And I don't. So basically, for insurance to cover it, I would have to go get myself some diabetes. And I found that kind of ironic, and it's kind of funny, but it is what it is. If insurance would cover it, frick yeah, 100% I would. Because I know that down the line, like being overweight, it's just not healthy. Like, I'm not stupid. And I find it so hard to believe that so many people out there can be this stupid to follow this whole fat acceptance thing. Body positivity? Yes. Feel good about yourself, but always strive to do better. Why can't we? And like, I'm so like jealous of people that actually can do better, and they have the energy to work out and go for walks, and they have all of that energy. I'm like, as an MS riddled person and all of my limitations now, it's highly annoying, and I'm extremely jealous of it. Because I'm like, I used to actually really like to run, like on a treadmill. I loved it. I would just run. Running was my thing. And like, whenever like I would tell doctors that, they would like look at me like, really? Yes, really. And I used to really like doing yoga, and now just like as things get harder to do, walking is harder to do for me now. Moving my limbs and holding on to things is harder now, and everything is harder, and the fatigue is too much, and I have no energy, and I can't do anything. So if I could do that, 100% yes. And it would be a miracle, and it would be awesome, and I would be forever grateful. But I can't pay for that. Whatever. It is what it is. So I say anti-fat acceptance. If you're with me here, leave a like. Let me know down below if you think my opinions are too harsh or you don't agree with them, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. You can have your opinions too. I just think it's ridiculous and it's stupid, and I do not subscribe to this. Body positivity, yes. Leave a like for body positivity, and leave a like no matter what. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be touching on more subjects in the near future, and let me know down below if you want to see anything else. If you want to see how I did this makeup look, I did have lashes on, but I had to take them off. Then I will link that down below. Bye, guys.